Chapter 2, Section 6 is about solving equations by multiplying or dividing. It starts on page 92. Once again, when you solve an equation, you're trying to get the variable alone and positive on one side of the equation. So it might look like y equals 5. That would be a solution because I've got a variable alone and positive on one side of the equation. 5 equals y is also a solution. Remember balance. If I do something to one side of an equation, I must do the same thing to the other side of the equation. And we use inverse operations. We do the opposite of an operation to cancel that operation. So in this case, we're going to see multiplication and division. We want to do the opposite. So I've got a couple examples. Number one, this is k over 5, or k divided by 5 equals negative 5. Since this is k divided by 5, I want to do the opposite. I want to multiply by 5. So I'm going to multiply both sides by 5. 5 times 5 is 1, which means I've got k, like 1k, and negative 5 times 5 is negative 25. And I have solved it. I can check by putting my answer back in for the original equation, negative 25 over 5, and I know the answer is negative 5, so that's true. 1 over 9 times z equals 0. Well, this is 1/9 times z. I could multiply by 9, or I could look at this as z over 9, that's the exact same thing, equals 0. With this problem, anything times 0 is going to be 0, so z, if I multiply by 9, is going to be 0. So remember, even though I'm multiplying, even though I do the opposite, I multiply instead of divide, it's still going to be 0. 13. 14 times h equals 42. Since there's no sign in between there, that means it's multiplication. So I've got to divide by 14 to get rid of this 14. Divided by 14. So 14 divided by 14 is 1. That means the h is by itself. There's one h all by itself. 42 divided by 14 is 3. And number 22. 20 equals e divided by negative 25. Since this is divided by negative 25, I want to multiply by negative 25. Or I could think of it as negative 25 over 1. Negative 25 divided by 25 is 1, so these cancel out. And since I multiplied one side by negative 25, I need to multiply the other side by negative 25 times 20. I'm just moving that down. Negative 25 times 20 is negative, let's see, 20 times 20 is 400, and 20 times 5 is 100, so it's negative 500. Since I'm multiplying a positive and a negative, I get a negative sign. So negative 500 equals E. There's some tricky ones at the bottom, so I wrote one down here for you. You're going to think that the answer is 5. And I'm going to tell you that is true, but there's also another answer, 5, and something else. And keep in mind this idea of absolute value.